My blissful, gorgeous selves, the civilization, culture and religion of the Hindus come from angelic beings of advanced plane of existence. We can name them as Devarshi, Brahmarshi, Maharshi and Rishis. Their descendants are known as Arya. Actually, Arya or Aryan is not a race, but Western scholars have foolishly made up that false narrative that Arya being a race. Arya in Sanskrit language only means a cultured, refined, civilized gentleman. That's all. But let us take Arya as a race to satisfy the ignorance. After Kali Yuga started, when Zoroastrianism sprang out away from the Aryans in the west, and Buddhism sprang out in the east, then whatever Sanatana Dharma remained was known as Hinduism. So the best proof of this vast and esoteric history of Hinduism is a prose piece which is being recited by every Sanatana Dharmi Hindus in India before any religious performance, that is called Sankalpa Mantra. It is recited before every religious ceremony and every festival and every auspicious day and every holy spot by every Hindu in India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Assam to Rajasthan. This prose piece is uttered by one who conducts the ceremony and is gradually being repeated by the performer. In this prose piece, the performer has to describe in one word his historical and geographical background as such, in which part of the earth he is sitting at the time of performance, and what time, in which planetary situation, and in which clan he is born, so on and so forth. For example, it begins like this: Om Madhya Vishnur Namah Paramatmane Sri Purana Purushottamaya. And the name of the performer is uttered with his last name, born in the clan of this and that. And then there will be the name of the first male who started his clan, like Gautam, Bharadwaj, Vasishtha, and many of them, and who are mostly rishis. The name of the clan starter is always one who lived at least from 5,000 to 4 million years ago. And I am performing this ceremony for till your desire, your purpose, which needs to be fulfilled by this ritual, this ceremony. It may be anything like mental peace or wealth or fame or winning election or healing a disease or removal of disease or removal of inauspicious influences of spirits or natural disasters, or to satisfy, to please the Almighty Lord Himself. So, I am performing for any of these with the sun situated in this zodiac, and you have to say whatever zodiac. On this particular day, on this particular date, means Tithi, and in this equinox, in this era, mostly they use Vikram era nowadays, and now it is 2077. Or Yudhishthir era now, which is 5120, 20th year. 5120th year. In the time, it's both the avatare, means you have to name some greatest enlightened saint born lately. And they mention name Buddha Avatare, but this Buddha was born 2000 years before Christ, that is 4000 years ago. It is not Gautam Buddha of 500 BC, okay? So in this locality, in this country, in this continent, and then that they will say Bharat Khande and then Jambu Dvipe, in the land where well-known great pious King Bharat ruled. Jambu Dvipe. So Jambudvip is a mystical term, and it includes all astral and celestial landscapes which are still to be discovered by the scientists. That means those days the Hindus lived in a somewhat bigger earth. At present, Sanskrit illiterate scholars translate it as Asia as Bharatkhand and Jambudvip as our whole world. Okay? Then they describe the history, Kali Pratham Charani, which means this is the Kali age from last 5245 years, which we are in. It is the first stage of the Kali Yuga. This Kali Yuga is the 28th Kali Yuga in continuation of 27 rounds of 4 yugas. That is Satyug, Silver, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga. Each round consisting of about 4 million years has already been passed. This is the time of Vaivasvat Manu, which has started from last 28 times 4 million 320,000 years, 28 times, and will continue till 4,320,000 times 43. It will continue 43 times more when the same cycle of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga will pass. Okay? So Vaivasvat Manvantar is 1/14th part of the particular cosmic day called Kalpa. Kalpa extends up to 4 billion solar years. This we call cosmic day. So since the Vedic civilization of Hindus, who were originally Devarshi, Rishi, Maharshi descendants, have witnessed many cosmic days. So they have different names of different cosmic days. The name of this cosmic day is Shvetamaraha Kalpa, which means white boar cosmic day. It has a mystical incident behind it. In order to understand the meaning of this name, you have to enter into another historical event, which is the material for advanced students. So, next point is Brahmanoni Ditiya Parardhe. This also has to be uttered, means half of the time span of the 100 years made by 12 months of 30 big cosmic days. The history of this vast and extensive civilization is beautifully summarized in 54 volumes of intergalactic history. Each one of them is composed in Sanskrit language and Sanskrit poems, and they vary from 10,000 to 81,000 verses. It is very interesting to understand them. Actually, if we want to understand Hindu men's civilization, their culture, their way of life, these 54 volumes of literature could be the best way to study under the guidance of Sanskrit educated Hindu scholar. The sociology, economics, politics, philosophy, ethics, archery, medical, nuclear, alchemical sciences are described in a poetic form. If anyone wants to study them, delicate feelings and sensitivity is a compulsory qualification, my dear friends, along with good knowledge of Sanskrit language associated with an enlightened wise man. A great prosperity we find associated with extraordinary generosity. We find them a great welcomer of their guests, as if it were only Greeks and Atlanteans who inherited that kind of superhuman quality of receiving a guest. The Kshatriya class were such great warriors that they can only be compared with Spartans and samurai warriors. Each one of them was able to wrestle with a ferociously roaring wild lion with his weaponless bare two hands and successfully win it. The archery was used by Zen masters for enlightenment. Their masters say they received it from the warrior class of the Vedic Aryans. We find the art of archery on its apex right from the golden age, means Satya Yuga, till the Mahabharata age and the end of Dwapar Yuga. It is really unimaginable, but it is true. Their arrows accompanied with a certain powerful mantra of the archers were far more powerful than the modern atomic weapons. Atomic explosions. If we drop a hydrogen bomb, it blindly kills thousands of innocent people. It will fry cities with children and ladies who are not part of the war, who are innocent. They are burnt alive. There was a technique of archery through which the invincible arrow unfailingly hit the target only, and so not commit the sin of killing the innocent people. Whatever the target will, wherever the target will hide, wherever the enemy will hide, the arrow will find him. The arrow can chase and find him and destroy him. It will not destroy the innocent people who were not a part of the offense. So there were arrows to shoot with different mantras for different purposes. Also there were arrows for mass hypnotism. There was an arrow which after its release multiplied itself and became many thousands and more than thousands. After doing the job for whatever purpose, there was a weapon which Lord Rama used to have always. It was released, it used to come back to the quiver again. We find a description that Aryan warriors used to light their homes through different kinds of gems, sapphires, pearls, which were emanating different colors of light of different watts. We find descriptions of Aryan spiritual ceremonies like yajna, in which a very strict discipline for the performer is mentioned, which seems even more strict than the Spartans. The performers' code of conduct and do's and don'ts and discipline show a man of very high standards and very advanced psychology and very strong willpower. When we see the list of things which he must donate, as well as offer free food to visitors and guests and general population, it is enormous in quantity, and all the misers will have a shock. They may fall down unconscious to hear that. The number of people to be fed is in hundreds and thousands every day. We hear the story of a princess who announced that she will marry only that young man who has been feasting 10,000 holy men every day. So, and there was a prince who really fell in love with her, and he started doing it. So, in charity, gold, pearls, sapphires, materials, and cows are included. Lands also. So, they are of such prosperous standard that nowadays, even in the United States of America, even Mr. Disney or Mr. Morgan or Mr. Donald Trump would hesitate and feel very small. But in those days, these were the only ways to be extensively renowned. How then were the ministers? The ministers were modest, thorough knowledge of Vedic literatures and maryadas, means ideals. They were bashful by nature and clever. They had fully controlled their senses. They were affluent, high souls, well versed in the use of weapons, possessed of unbending power, and glorious and vigilant, true to their words, and they were majestic, forgiving, and far famed. They spoke with a smile playing on their lips, and could never tell a lie in anger or in danger or even in dream. Many of heroes are such that they did not tell lie even in the dream. For the sake of sense enjoyment or wealth, they never spoke a lie. So nothing connected with their own people or with others was unknown to them. And they were heroes with an undying will and followed the precepts of the political sciences led by the Vedas. They protected under all circumstances the people of good conduct in their state as a result of the ministers being all upright in their dealings, of one mind and fully discerning. There was no man who told a lie anywhere in the city of Ayodhya, or for that matter in the entire kingdom. There was no wicked man. The whole city, the whole state was perfectly tranquil, free from turmoil or tribulations. Now we begin. Okay? This is the situation of Ayodhya those days. This is the description of the city of Ayodhya about 1 million years ago in the great Rishi Valmiki's own words. He says, Tasmin Puravare Drishtva, Tasmin Puravare Rishta Mahat Dharmatmano Bahusruta Naras Tushta Dhanai Swai Swai Alubdha Satyavadina Nalpasan Nichaya Kashdasi Tasmin Puruttame Kutumbiyo Yasiddhartho Gad Ashwa Dhanyavan. The people of that city are happy, virtuous, learned in sacred lore, free from greed, truthful and contented with their own fortune. There is no householder in that great city who has not stored valuable things in abundance and has not attended the object of human pursuit, and who is in want of oxen, cows, horses, and other wealth and food grains. There is no man in Ayodhya who is sensuous, miserly, cruel, ignorant, and unbelieving in the Vedas, unbelieving in God. And the God is unmanifest, attributeless, and also divine light, and also in the human form. are in many different forms and they all are